Welcome back to Saturday Sermons, guys. I'm Lily DJ, and today we're going to be talking about Proverbs 16:9. Now, Proverbs is the book where we get practically wisdom that God gave Solomon. As you know, Solomon wrote Proverbs, so this is like actual wisdom that Solomon received from God, so that's cool. So, because really, you can read the book of Proverbs and you can kind of like your life, you can base like your life choices and decisions and just each step you take in life or your thoughts, your mindset, and just base it on getting wisdom from this, because a lot of it can be helpful. So this verse, I saw it twice in the same day like 2 days ago, and I was like, that's cool. So, and it's crazy because I can't even remember now where I saw them, but anyway, it's in their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. And then the ones that I saw, the versions I saw, were how a man can make his own plans, basically, but the Lord guides his steps. So, however you want to word that. So, let's break that down. In their hearts, humans plan their course. We are humans, so a lot of times we inwardly have plans, obviously, a lot of people. Some people don't like making plans, some people do, some people just are kind of a mix of both. But I think at some point we all have a little thing where we're like, something's happening or something's coming up and we have like a vision kind of in our head of how we think it's going to go or how we'd want it to go. So, but it says the Lord establishes their steps, but the Lord establishes their steps or guides their steps. So the Lord is the one who's going to actually establish their path, your path. So like, we can plan all we want to, and it's not necessarily, just because we plan it, it's not necessarily a part of God's will. Maybe it is sometimes, or certain aspects of it. But sometimes, and a lot of times, what we think our whole plan is planned out in our head or our heart isn't actually what God has planned for us. And we know that God's plan is going to prevail over us because we are nothing without the Lord, and the Lord is the one who's going to, further our life. So, but I don't think that it's a bad thing when it might seem like at the start when you first read it, it's like, oh, so you're saying that I make my plans, the Lord guides my steps. So there's the but in there, so it sounds like, but the Lord guides their steps, like my plans aren't going to happen. Now, I think a good way that we can look at this is we should be glad that God is planning out our life. We can make all the plans we want, and sometimes they might not even be that good. Like, we actually need to think, if this happened, my plan that I have, every little detail that I have in my head, if this happened, number one, God's purposes for his actual plan for that, let's say that yours happened and not his, then his actual purposes for his plan, what should have happened, aren't going to happen. And a lot of times, God's purposes, his plans for you have purpose. He's not just planning your life out just for the fun of it. Like, he's planning your life out for purposes, and I think that's really good for us, because as humans, sometimes when life starts seeming purposeless, it might be because we're not following God's plan. We need to let the Lord guide our steps, and so we need to look at that as a blessing, basically. And I'm not saying that all our plans are bad necessarily. It's just some of them are meant to happen, some of them aren't meant to happen. But whenever that does happen, and the Lord, I think we should just basically look at that as that we are blessed, that the Lord is the one writing our story and not us. Like, God is happy to have us, coming up with things. We're curious. He knows that we're creative humans. He made us in his image. He's the creator, so of course we're going to be creative, probably kind of coming up with our plans and stuff. And whenever you have plans, why not take them to God? He's so involved in every intricate detail of your life and knows you already, so why not talk to him about it? If you have a plan, be like, hey, God, I think this would be a good thing to happen in my life, or I think this would be good. Then why not tell him, instead of being like, this is my plan, and I don't care what the Lord's plan is, so I'm just going to go my own little way and see how life turns out, because this is how I want it. Yeah, I don't think that's going to go well. I think you should talk to God about your plans, and then grow further together in your relationship with him while he guides your steps. Let's just take this verse as a blessing and not something bad when we read it, as we are blessed that God writes our story. Just let him guide your steps today and every day.